Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I hope you are having a peaceful and wonderful day. Today, I want to tell you the story of a man who painted his most famous work when he was already in his 70s, and who spent his entire life believing he still had not become a true artist. Today, his image of a single towering wave is recognized almost everywhere in the world. His name was Katsushika Hokusai. When people see the famous image of a giant blue wave curling over tiny fishing boats, with Mount Fuji quietly visible in the background, they often do not know the name behind it. But behind that single, powerful image lies the story of a restless artist who reinvented himself again and again, well into old age. How did a man born into poverty in Edo, Japan, create one of the most recognized artworks in human history? Let's find out together. Before we begin, if you enjoy learning English through stories, please subscribe to Everstory English. Your support helps us create more stories for your English learning journey. Katsushika Hokusai was born in 1760 in Edo, the city now known as Tokyo. His family was not wealthy. As a young boy, he worked at a lending library, where he was surrounded by books filled with illustrations. It was here that his fascination with images and drawing first began to grow. At around age 14, Hokusai became an apprentice to a wood carver, learning the careful, patient skill of carving fine lines into wooden printing blocks. This early training shaped the sharp, precise style that would later define his artwork. A few years later, at 18, he entered the studio of a respected artist, where he formally began learning traditional Japanese painting and woodblock print design. Hokusai's early career was far from smooth. He experimented constantly, moving between different artistic styles, sometimes clashing with his teachers and often struggling financially. Throughout his life, he reportedly changed his name more than 30 times and moved homes over 90 times, sometimes simply to find a fresh environment for a new burst of creative energy. He lived simply, often in poverty, even as his skill continued to grow. For decades, Hokusai worked as a respected but not especially famous artist, creating illustrations for books, prints of actors, and scenes from everyday city life. He experimented with different subjects and techniques, always searching, always dissatisfied with his current level of skill. He once said that everything he had produced before the age of 70 was not worth counting. Then, in his 70s, something remarkable happened. Around 1830, Hokusai began working on a series of woodblock prints called 36 Views of Mount Fuji. Within this series was a single image that would eventually become one of the most famous pieces of art in the world. A massive, curling wave, its foam breaking into small claw-like shapes, towering over 3 small fishing boats, with the calm, snow-capped peak of Mount Fuji resting quietly in the distance. Today, this image is known as the Great Wave. The print captured something universal, the overwhelming power of nature, the smallness of human effort against it, and yet a strange sense of balance and beauty within the chaos. It was mass-produced using traditional woodblock printing techniques, allowing thousands of copies to be sold at affordable prices to ordinary people across Japan. It became widely popular in its own time, and centuries later, its influence would reach far beyond Japan, inspiring Western artists and shaping how the world imagined Japanese art. Even after this success, Hokusai did not slow down. He continued painting into his 80s, constantly experimenting with new techniques and subjects. He took on the nickname Gakkyo Rajin, meaning old man mad about painting. He believed that true mastery was always just out of reach, and that every year of practice brought him only slightly closer to the artist he wished to become. Near the end of his life, he reportedly said that if he could live just a little longer, perhaps 5 more years, he might finally become a true painter. Hokusai passed away in 1849 at the age of 89, having created tens of thousands of works across his lifetime, including paintings, prints, illustrated books, and sketches. His relentless curiosity and refusal to consider himself finished as an artist left behind a body of work that continues to influence painters, designers, and artists around the world today. So what can we learn from Hokusai? We learn that mastery is rarely something we suddenly achieve, but something we continue moving toward for an entire lifetime. We learn that some of our greatest work may come not in youth, but in the patient decades that follow. And we learn that true humility, the belief that we can always improve, is often what drives the most extraordinary creative achievements. Today, as we learn English together, we are practicing the same values Hokusai lived by. Learning a language, like mastering an art form, is not something we complete quickly, and it is never something we can consider finished. Just as Hokusai believed his best work was always still ahead of him, we can view every mistake and every new lesson not as a sign of failure, but as one more small step toward the fluent speaker we are becoming. Thank you for listening to this story today. I hope you enjoyed learning about Hokusai, and I hope this story helped you improve your English. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and join us for more timeless stories on Everstory English. Until next time, keep learning, keep listening, and keep growing with Everstory English.